All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Best Self Blueprint. So, as you all know, the mission of this podcast is to bring on people with the knowledge, insights, and experiences as to what it takes to move that dial towards truly becoming the best version of yourself. So, before we even get started, we're doing this for free, but hopefully, if you get something out of this, you will subscribe, you'll like it, you'll share it with someone who you think can really benefit from this knowledge. But I want to introduce this guest. He is an MMA fighter. He's a wrestler. He's a boxer. He's a fitness professional, certified personal trainer. If there's someone who can raff with me back and forth about health and fitness, what works, what doesn't, it is this guy. So I want to bring on Juwon Anderson. How's it going, man?
It's going well, man. How about you?
Doing well. I'm excited for this one, especially someone who understands the ins and outs and intricacies of MMA, wrestling, boxing, those combat sports, and the discipline it requires to do it. But also, like I was saying, you're just a beast. Like, for anyone who doesn't know him, like, immediately just go check out any of his social media. He is an absolute machine. But I want you to start by talking about what first got you interested in health and fitness, and then how that kind of progressed into you doing it as a profession.
Um, just as a kid, ever since I was like 8, like I would like get up in the morning and go for runs and do like a bunch of push-ups. And I honestly, when I was a kid, I think what got me really interested was probably like WWE wrestlers. Like I liked Brock Lesnar, like Bobby Lashley, like guys like that. And they were like freaks. Like they're fast, they're strong, they're athletic, like they could wrestle, they could do everything, they could do backflips. So I just wanted to be like a perfect athlete, like starting like watching those guys as a kid. And then as I got older, I started playing sports, I started wrestling, I started joining track. And I just had this mentality of just wanting to be just like a perfect, well-rounded athlete. Was fast, was strong, who has a really good endurance, and that's all I strived for ever since then.
Yeah. And so I want to get into it because this is something I always love talking to coaches about, or certified personal trainers who have worked with people and shown them the ropes. What in your opinion is the best place to start? Like, let's say hypothetically I'm someone who has never really been into working out, but I'm starting to realize how important health and fitness is. What would be, in your opinion, the best place to start, or the first thing to focus on?
But when you say best place to start, what do you mean by that?
Like, is it working on building up cardio? Is it, dialing in on nutrition? Is it lifting some weights? Is it sleeping 8 hours a day?
first place to start. Uh, well, first I would say make a goal, like create a goal for yourself, and then once you set that goal, you just gotta figure out which route helps first aid. So that's tough. That's a tough question.
No, I will say, so I like that. And it does come down to, I think, what a lot of people experience is like analysis paralysis, where there's so many places to start that it's hard to pick one and dial in on it. But
Yeah.
once you realize how many options there are, it's like, okay, cool. They all help you. So pick one, and no matter
Mm-hmm.
what that one is, you need to go at it relentlessly. And I think that's a big problem. And let me know what your experience has been. But I've seen a lot of people who say, like, okay, I'm going to start with fitness. That's going to be my thing. And they go do it and they're gung ho for like 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden they miss a few gym sessions and they're like, okay, maybe I should just start by eating healthy. So then they meal prep for a week, do it perfectly, and then they go to McDonald's 2 days in a row and they're like, okay, maybe that's not it. Maybe I'll start with meditating. And so they kind of ping pong all the way through these different things. But really, it's about dialing in on one goal or one habit, optimizing it. And then once you feel you're comfortable with that, then okay, branch out and start working on something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all about consistency. When people ask me, like, what do you do? First thing I say is consistency. That's like the most important thing with everything. The diet, the lifts, the going to sleep. As long as you're consistent, you're going to see results.
Yeah. And as someone, obviously, I'm not a big dude. I'm an endurance athlete, but as someone who is interested in learning more about like packing on muscle and putting on mass, what have you found to be like the most effective methods for that?
Well, diet's huge. I mean, obviously you got to do the lifts to go with that, but mainly the diet. Uh, like over the years, I've dabbled in a bunch of things. I tried a lot of things out. That's another thing. I try a lot of things out. I do a lot of trial and errors, one thing after the other, and I think you got to find what works for you. So it's just a process. But for me, I don't know, dieting. So I would eat. Now I'm eating sweet potatoes, rice, chicken breasts, steak. A lot of pretty protein heavy. Uh, Taking creatine helps a lot. Collagen, recovery is huge. The sleep is huge. I mean, it all kind of plays. It all kind of works together. I think you got to find what works best for you, because I feel like a lot of people are different. But for
Yeah.
me, it's dieting for sure,
Yeah.
along with the
And
lifts.
I think that's what people kind of have the misconception about is it's not just eating in a caloric surplus, which means the amount of calories you're putting in your body is greater than the amount of calories you're burning in a given
Mm-hmm.
day. But it has to be stuff like you're talking about. It has to be complex carbs. It has to be lean protein. It has to be healthy fats. It's like the analogy I always give is you would never pour tomato juice in your gas tank, right? Then why are you putting, stuff that doesn't help you run into your system? Because
Mm-hmm.
a car you can replace. Your body, once it's done, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then so one thing I want you to run through for people is kind of just talking about with supplements, like especially with creatine and with collagen. Those are two I get asked a lot about. So if you could just run people through why you take those and kind of like what the benefit is, I think that'll help a lot of people debunk all these things that they're hearing.
So I started taking creatine last year, and honestly, personally, I don't see much of an effect on it with me, because I feel like I kind of like almost hit my peak. So a lot of people, they take creatine. Like I talked to one guy at the gym. He takes creatine. His bench went up a crazy amount. He's like squatting a crazy amount of weight. So personally, I haven't experienced that much of a difference, but creatine helps with your recovery. It helps with your muscle endurance. It If you recover well, that's when you start to gain strength, start to gain muscle. That's when you start to see gains, and that's pretty much creatine. It helps you like go longer in the gym. So if you can maximize your recovery, that's when you're going to see results, and that's what creatine is really helpful for. And scientifically, it holds your water, so it holds water for you. It's almost like sodium. It holds your water, so it helps you pack on weight, which is why you got to drink a lot of water if you're taking creatine. And I take one scoop, 5 grams a day. Even when I don't work out, I take 5 grams a day, one scoop. I drink a lot of water when I take that. Collagen, I mainly just took it for my health, my nails, my hair, stuff like that. But it helps with your recovery as well. It's pretty big on that. But I mainly took it for like my skin and my nails. So.
Okay, yeah. So that was actually going to be one of my next questions is how much you take on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
but that is a really good point because I know people have had a bad experience with creatine because they took
Mm-hmm.
it for like a year straight and they didn't up their water intake. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I'm really glad you brought up is with creatine, how it affects your body is it does require you to intake a lot more water than what you're used to, and a lot of people don't get enough water as is.
Yeah.
So just making sure that you're getting a good amount of water if you decide to take it, which if you're looking to pack on muscle like this guy, um, I would definitely test it out. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other thing that I think is,
One
oh
more
yeah, go
thing.
for it.
And there's also different. I'm not too familiar with the different type of creatines, but the one I take is the monohydrate, and that's the one that's like helps with more lean muscle. There's like another one that if you take it, it like makes you a little bit more, puts on a little bit more fat on you. You look a little bulkier. And
Mhm.
mine helps with like my lean muscle. So if you're gonna take a creatine, you should definitely like look into the different kinds as well. I take the monohydrate.
Okay,
So
yeah, good to know. And
yeah.
then the other thing that I think is so important that you mentioned, I think there are a lot of misconceptions in the health and fitness industry and just in the health and fitness space. one of them is that working out is what gets you stronger, faster, whatever. That's actually what kind of breaks you down, and recovery is what allows you to get built back up better than you were. And so if you're crushing it in the gym 6 days a week, but you're not doing anything to recover, all you're doing is beating the crap out of yourself at that point. You will maybe see short-term benefits and results, but you're going to notice you've got aches and pains. You're going to notice you're getting injured a lot more frequently. So I think that's a really important thing to talk about is recovery. What, aside from obviously the supplements, but what recovery practices do you use typically?
Besides supplements, active recovery. So on Sundays are my days off, but I use those for active recovery. So maybe I go for like a light jog, then like a stretch after. Use a little roller, the foam roller. I have like a stretch band I use, a green stretch band. I use that. Maybe have my girlfriend give me a massage. So little stuff like that. Just you spoke on it pretty well with the if you don't recover, you're gonna find yourself getting hurt, not seeing the gains, because that's another thing I learned over the years. And I just recently started implementing more recovery because I would like work out like a werewolf, like for years, just put my body through so much. And then I would constantly get hurt during the wrestling season, like constantly just not putting on the weight. It's like my endurance is going up, but my body was just breaking down. Like it was kind of brittle in a way. And then ever since my last surgery, I took recovery super seriously. So yeah, when I'm done working out, a lot of foam rolling, a lot of stretching, sauna. I love the sauna, the hot tub. I love ice baths. It's just little things. It takes all you need is like 30 minutes. It might feel like forever, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's such a night and day difference where you said it, when you're not recovering, it's not just the increase in injury. You really don't see the benefits that you would if you did proper recovery,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the sauna, with the ice baths, with the foam rolling. Implementing these different strategies and having that variety allows you to recover in such a better way than if all you're doing is stretching for a few minutes after a workout. And I think it's safe to say that every person who has ever gotten into fitness has gone down the trap of, I don't really need to recover. How important is it really? And then you realize how important it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'm glad you kind of had that testament, because I had that same thing where, so I do obstacle course racing. And my
Mm-hmm.
first season, I would get done with the race and I would just leave. I'd get in my car, I'd go home, and I wouldn't stretch, I wouldn't roll out, I wouldn't do anything. And then I realized I was getting injured at a lot of these races, even if it was just tweaking a muscle in my arm or tweaking a muscle in my leg. It takes you out for at least a few days, at most
Mm-hmm.
a couple months. And it's like you said, it's like the insurance of your body, where you can either spend the 15-20 minutes doing the recovery after, consistently, or you can have that big payout after an injury and have to take at least like a week or a few weeks off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my high school career, my college too, I was injured a lot. Like that's one of my big regrets about athletics. Like I was injured a lot throughout the seasons, and I was never really recovered. I was never doing active recovery. So it's one
Yeah.
thing you should definitely take seriously.
Yeah. And then, so I want to, on obviously the topic of health and fitness still, I want to talk about, because you have a crazy ability to take things to the next level. Like just going through some of your workout videos and seeing some of your content. What is it? Is it like a mental switch? Is it like, what is it that allows you to keep pushing far past that point where you're uncomfortable? Because I've noticed that is also a big difference in people not seeing crazy results and people like you seeing absolutely insane results, is that extra gear and that ability to push through it after it gets uncomfortable.
Uh, I've always been a pretty motivated person. Like I said, when I was 8 years old, I would get up in the morning, run around. It's me just being competitive. Like like I always want to be in gym class. Like in the eighth grade, like I always want to be the fastest. Like I want to do the most push-ups. It's me being competitive. But I found that each year, every time I go through like my first shoulder surgery. I had a torn labrum, and I don't know. I had a lot of time to think after that, and I'm just sitting there just thinking, and it just makes me want to work harder because I feel like it, I feel like because I'm a big athlete and I'm big on being active, and I feel like I can easily there could be any day where I can get hurt to a point where I can never be as active as I am again. So like I take that real seriously. Like there's people laying in the hospital beds not knowing they're going to make it another day, and I don't feel like I'm fair just half-assing workouts and stuff like that. Like they wish they could be in my spot. It's pretty intense. Like I'm pretty intense about the way I get motivated, but it's what works for me. But it's like little things like that. When I had my knee surgery, like recently, like 10 months ago, I had knee surgery, and that was like the extra switch because my doctor told me I could never be an athlete again after that, and I could never like really bend it again. So like after like going through that stuff, like that made me take it to another level. Like because it was so close to being gone from it, and I'm like I'm done wasting time. So I just take it to another level, and it just motivates. It's just you gotta find something that really motivates you. Everyone's different. Like it's what motivates me might not motivate other people. So you just gotta find that little thing inside you, that little fire that gets you going. And then once you get that, you keep that in your mind. You wake up in the morning. You wake up in the morning. You think about that. Like I wake up in the morning, I always think about getting better. So it's just a constant. Yeah, you just gotta have that mindset. Just constantly remind yourself. And like I said, mine is pretty intense. But I feel like you have to be intense with it. Like I don't judge if whoever motivates you. But for me, it's me thinking about people laying on their hospital bed, not sure if they're gonna make it the next day, not sure if they're gonna wake up the next morning, and then I'm sitting in my bed just chilling, like watching TV. Like I feel like I should definitely take advantage of like the time I have on this earth and my youth. So
You are talking my language, dude. I talk about that all the time where I'm like, yeah, there's people who can't walk. There's people who aren't able to do the things that some people like us can do with our bodies, like run and jump and climb, and to not see what you're capable of to me is such a waste of life. And obviously, again, I'm not doing push-ups with 200 and whatever pounds on my back like you are, but for me, it's again right now in that endurance realm in particular, it's okay, I'm blessed with the ability to walk. I'm blessed with the ability to be able to run and do these things. Let's see how far I can go. Let's see how fast I can do it. Let's see not just physically, but mentally and emotionally how much I can kind of juice out of that experience. And yeah, I think it's a combination of the consistency, like you're talking about, and then also having those more intense goals of like, for me, I'm about to head out and go do a 24-hour race this weekend. For you, I'm sure it's hopping in the octagon with somebody or maxing out a bench or a squat or something like that. And just to be able to show up consistently and not half-ass it, like to be able to show up with that fire that you're talking about, even if it's just a little spark at the beginning, use every minute to try to build on that fire. And yeah, so again, you're talking my language when you talk about that, because it frustrates me when I waste it, and it frustrates me to see a lot of other people waste so many gifts that they've been given because they don't recognize that they're gifts.
Yeah, and I have like I get like butterflies before my workouts and practices. It's just like I take all that super seriously. Just like the preparation, like I take it super seriously. So yeah, it's frustrating for me too. And for some people, when I try to tell them like they should work out because it helps them, like if they're stressed, I'm like it clear out your mind, like it make you happier. Like scientifically, it's proven. A lot of people, they get like overwhelmed by that. They get like offended. They're like, working out's not gonna help, this and that. Yeah, it frustrates me too. But like not everyone thinks like we do. So that's what I had to learn. So
got to get those endorphins. Yeah, and
yeah.
So I guess that's an interesting question then too. And I'll give my perspective, but I want to hear yours as a coach, because do you coach people as a personal trainer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. But okay. So people who come to you and say like, I really don't have the motivation, but I know I need to do it. How do you get them from that point of, hating every minute in the gym to all of a sudden now they're actually enjoying it. They're enjoying the process. They're pushing themselves. How do you get them through that initial uncomfortable phase?
Uh, I mean, a lot of complimenting them, letting them know what they're doing well. That helps a lot. But I think what really like gets them is like the tangible things. So like the numbers. If they go up 5 pounds every week, like they start to see that, that gives them more confidence. So just little things. Like I feel like with people that's just now starting out with no motivation, just tangible stuff, the numbers, like if their mile goes down, just showing them like real tangible stuff that they can see they improved on. I feel like that'll help them get motivated to go even further and further improve. So that's like as a personal trainer, that's like my personal trainer answer. Give them
Yeah.
compliments while they're working out. Good job. You're looking better. You're doing this. And then showing them the numbers. I'm going up in weight in their squats, going up in weight in their bench. Yeah. So
Yeah,
tangible
that's
things.
all right. Yeah, we have a pretty similar answer. So I like what I say to clients is like I look at the data. So
Mm-hmm.
if on day one you could barely even do 10 ball slams without having to
Mm-hmm.
take a break, and now after doing a workout you're doing 20 as a finisher and you're
Mm-hmm.
still off pretty well, that's data. That's actual quantifiable data that shows you are better now than you were before.
Mm-hmm.
And stepping on the scale, even if it's only a couple pounds difference, that is data. Now, typically if people buy into the process, it's more than like 1 or 2 pounds. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think it's important for people, even if you don't go from, being 40% body fat to having washboard abs in a month, like you still can see on the scale and you can feel it energetically, and just tracking your workouts, I think is huge. So giving yourself those small wins, I think is so important, because what happens oftentimes, especially with the instant gratification world that's developing around us, people have the goal of like ideally what they want to look like. And every time they step on the scale and that's not it, they get let down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's looking in the rear view mirror a little bit is how I talk about it, and seeing, okay, I was back there. Now I'm all the way up here. Yes, there's still more road to cover, but I'm moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the results. When you first get those results, it's like a drug, and that's usually what keeps people going, and they don't want to stop. And it's
Yeah.
fun. It's nice to see too. It's nice to see them more energetic coming into the next sessions because they just did well last week. So now they have like more of a pep in the step. So yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing in the world, and that's why I talk about it, because as a coach, I know you know what I'm talking about. Where usually there's the honeymoon phase, so like the first week to 2 or 3 weeks, where they're super excited, they're all bought in, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Dang, I'm sore like a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and like this isn't that fun actually." And then there's kind of that, again, maybe like 2 or 3 week period where like they hit the top of the roller coaster, which is that honeymoon phase, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh snap, I have a lot of work to do, and they kind of
Mm-hmm.
fall off. But if you stick with it and do that consistency thing that you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
then you really start to get to the point where it's fun and you can challenge yourself and you can really feel good about what you're doing on a daily basis. But it is understanding that first up and down part of the process where it's going to
Mm-hmm.
feel weird and different and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right. And then the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, outside of, I always ask one question at the end, everybody, which I am curious to hear your answer on that. But before that, I just want to get your take on, because you've obviously bought into like pursuing the life that you want to live. And this is a question I always love asking people who I know do this is what, and I know we talked motivation, but what was it that got you to buy into pursuing the life you wanted, as opposed to what I call checking the boxes of just, go to school, get the grades, get the job with the 401k? Like what allowed you to buy into pursuing your passions in life?
Pretty similar to what I said about the me, like with people lying on their deathbed and stuff like that. So I'm like 24 years old, and I think that plays a role into it too. So I'm 24 years old, and I think a lot. Like I'm a big thinker. So like I'm always thinking about my future, like my life and stuff like that. And like I'm getting close to 30, and up to like last year, because I would just work. I would work at the Y. I'm a building supervisor at the Y. I would work at the Boys and Girls Club and just kind of go day by day, getting my paychecks and stuff. But I always like knew that I always felt like my calling was always something involved with fitness, something involved with martial arts, fighting and stuff like that. So I don't know. After my knee injury, like I was just like I just was not wasting any time anymore. Like I quit my job at the Boys and Girls Club. I got certified as a personal trainer. I dove into that. I'm just like I'm done like wasting time. I feel like I was wasting a lot of time, and it took me hurting my leg for me to like realize that, because I took a lot of time to reflect. So it wasn't much I could do. Like I couldn't walk, so I had like a lot of time to think. So I don't know. I just feel like I was wasting a lot of time. And I feel like life is fast. It goes by fast, and I feel like if you're young, you should just try to pursue your goals. Like you could do it. I feel like anyone could do whatever they could do whatever they want to do. They just got to put their mind to it. There is no limit. Like there is no ceiling. Like if you put your mind to it, if you're good at something, like just go for it. Try to pursue it. You can make money off of it. You can live happily. But before I hurt my knee, I was just working like day to day. I was just taking it day to day. And I was telling people like, yeah, I want to be an MMA fighter. But yet, like I was training on my own, but I wasn't going to a gym. Like I wasn't going to an MMA gym. I was just taking it day by day, just kind of not doing anything to get anywhere close near being a personal trainer or being a fighter, even though I was saying that's what I wanted to be. So I just realized that I can't really think. I just should just do it, just go for it. And when I started attacking things, that's when I started seeing results, and I'm starting to improve vastly. I hate that I wasted so much time, but better late than never.
Heck yeah, man. And that's one thing that's really fascinating to me about this is, and I didn't know this about you beforehand, but the with the knee thing, that was kind of your crux, if you will, or like
Yeah.
the most difficult part. And it's so interesting to me that, and I might be generalizing, but I think every single person I've talked to who has this mindset that we're talking about of going all in on your passions and living every day to the fullest, they seem to have experienced a major piece of adversity, whether it's getting a potentially athlete career ending injury, or in my case, I actually had a pretty near death experience. Totally my fault. I was climbing a cliff I shouldn't have been. And yeah. And it's so interesting to me that you really need that mirror to be held up to your face that says like, this is precious. This thing we call life that we kind of do on autopilot a lot of times is something that needs to be taken into full account and really appreciated and live to the fullest. So I was really curious about your background on that. And it's so fascinating that it seems like every person I talk to who has that mindset has gone through something to really show them like, you got to wake up, man. Because going and working at the Y, like nothing wrong with it. I'm sure there are plenty of people who would love that job, but for you, like going and working at the Y and just kind of collecting the paycheck every 2 weeks isn't going to allow you to then sit on your deathbed and say, okay, I'm really fulfilled with what I did with my life.
Yeah. Adversity is big. Like, so I moved around a lot as a kid, and like I grew up in places as like I came so far to where I grew up. Like a lot of people my age that I grew up with, like they're working at Pizza Hut, McDonald's, not really motivated areas, not a lot of heroes, not a lot of inspiration. So I feel, and my parents always moved me out. They moved me out of those neighborhoods and moved me into like more suburban areas where kids were actually talking about college, actually talking about a career and this and that. So I feel like that's one thing like I've always kept in the back of my mind, because I feel lucky that I escaped areas like that where their bar is already set so low. That just have what they were born into. Moved into an area where everyone's bar is set so high, and not everyone is fortunate enough to have that kind of experience. So that's another thing I was taking in consideration as well, in terms of not wasting time and being grateful how far I came. and how far I plan on going. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
adversity is huge.
Well, and I wanna highlight one last thing before I ask the final question. And you use this word that I freaking love using in my own life, and it's hero. Like
Hmm.
I always think about like if, and this isn't an original thought by any means. I've heard this thousands of times, but if your life was put into a movie, is it a movie you would watch? And are you the hero of the movie? So for me, like if my eyeballs are the projector in the movie theater and my life is what everyone else gets to watch, like I want to be that badass superhero that's got the S on his chest, or in my case, my company logo, Best Self, on my chest, which I always talk about. I want to be the bat symbol in the sky. But, anyways, I really think that's a great place to start. Is if you can't honestly say that you feel like the hero in your own movie, you got to do something to change. Like, and the hero for me is different than the hero for you or for anyone watching or listening to this, but whatever that word hero means to you, like wake up and attack every day like the hero version of you would. And I think if you do that enough times, you'll get to the point where you can wake up and say, dang, like I'm living a pretty cool life.
Yeah, yeah. It's super humbling when people randomly DM me or Snapchat me or stop me like in the street and say I'm like an inspiration to them and I motivate them and this and that. 'Cause it's funny because I was actually talking about this with my girlfriend last week because I like came to like a realization of it. I was just like thinking about it and I was like, dang, like I've actually hit that point and I never thought I never thought of myself being that either. It just kind of like happened, and that's another motivational thing for me as well. Like I love motivating people. That I'm a personal trainer. Like I worked at the Boys and Girls Club. Like I want to motivate people. I want to help people improve and reach their potential. And yeah, to actually feel like a hero, that is a great accomplishment. And I feel like I people told me I'm the hero, but like I don't feel like I'm there yet. But yeah,
Well, you're in
that put
hot
me.
pursuit. I'll say that. That's you
Oh,
are
what'd you say?
way.
What'd you say?
Oh, I said, well, you're in hot pursuit. You're well on your way to getting there.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right. So, time for the last question, and then we'll wrap it up. So, this is something I ask everybody, and I'm genuinely always curious to hear their response. What for you right now in your life is the next step in you becoming your best self?
My best self. Well, for one, my main goal is to change or inspire. I can't put a number of how many lives, but I want to be like I want to reach to a point where I'm a figure where people could like look to me. They'd be like, if they need motivation, they need inspiration, they look to me for that. And I feel like I'm there, but I want to be like more well known. I want to be. I want people to be like, what's that guy's name? The motivational speaker, Eric Thomas.
Yeah, ET.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
like something
yeah.
like that. Like if they need something, they just like look on my profile. They get motivated. Just like look at his profile, you listen to his stuff, you instantly get motivated. Like I want to be one of those people. And that's like my main thing, man. Like I obviously want to be a fighter. I
Yeah.
want to be a successful coach, a successful trainer, but motivating and inspiring like millions of people, like that would be like the ultimate goal. Changing lives, that'd be like the ultimate accomplishment for me.
Man, you and I have to talk a lot more then, because that's my answer for it. Is like I do feel like I'm at a point where personally I've got a lot of the habits I want dialed in. I'm in the lane I want to be in. And now it's just a matter of magnitude. So like how many people can I reach? So that being said, I'm going to leave it with two things. One I'm going to say, and then I'll let you talk a little bit. On the words of ET, don't be the gazelle, be the lion. So don't be running away out of fear, be running in pursuit of your goals. But I do want, because again, I've only been following his content. I took a deep dive, but I've only been following his content for a few weeks now, maybe a month. And A, some of the stuff he does is just freaking insane. And B, he really is very inspirational and he sets such a good example. So I want to acknowledge you for that, but I also want to give you a second just to let people know where they can follow you, where they can watch what you're doing, where they can connect with you, whether it's social media, YouTube, wherever you are, if you want to just let them know.
Well, first of all, thanks, man. I appreciate the compliments. But my Instagram is Juwon Tanamo. So it's JUWONTANO_BAY. My Facebook is Juwon Anderson, JUWON Anderson with the O. And if you want to add me on Snapchat too, my Snapchat's Juwon Anaconda. I know some funny names. My Snapchat is Juwon Anaconda, JUWONCONDA.
I like it. Yeah, man. I would be more than happy to coming soon, and I guess I can just announce it now. So coming soon, I'm going to be adding a fitness portion onto my YouTube channel where I do like different standardized tests for like the police force or the army. And I also want to do where I like go meet up with people and do their workouts. I would love for you to kick my ass with one of your workouts. So I'd be happy to meet you up wherever you are and run through something like that. But seriously, guys, like if you don't follow him or know of him, make sure that you follow him. If something that he said did inspire you, make sure you let him know. He loves that. I love that as well. You can let me know, but I'll be putting links to all of his info in the comments down below. And again, if any of you listening or watching got anything out of this, subscribe. There will be plenty more where that came from. Like the video. If you liked the video, that's why the like button is there. And if there's someone you know who can use this information, share it with them. That is the people that we're trying to reach. So, man, thank you again for coming on. This was, and I have pretty high expectations. This exceeded my expectations. I can't wait to maybe even collab with you on some stuff, some projects, or just connect down the road. But I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Absolutely.
It was fun.
All right. And to everybody listening, again, subscribe, like, share, comment, whatever else there is to do. And we will catch you next time.